Nobody fucks with the little guys.
Every day, he'll punch harder. You don't want to get Bobby mad.
Mess with Bitcoin and see what happens.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you are enjoying this pump across the board. Not only Bitcoin, Ethereum up 10%, altcoins going crazy. We have Gala up massive amounts, Cardano up 30% in the week. So lots of people getting very, very excited about this Bitcoin pump, although I can hear the rumors in the chat that we should not be trusting this. But that being said, as we can see what happened right here, we were talking about breaking through these very critical downtrends, and I said that our target was 17,238. Now we did hit that, and what's pretty cool, if you actually zoom in right here, is you could see that we did in fact fall below it, right? But then we ended up moving back above it. Now a lot of this did have to do with Powell was speaking at this Swedish banking thing, and everyone was worried about what he was going to say. Look, at the end of the day, he really didn't say much. He basically said the exact same thing that they've been saying, nothing different. Again, as I've been saying, we know that they're going to be hawkish. We know that they don't want to cut the rates in 2023, and we know that we're expecting about a 25 basis point raise at the next FOMC. So markets were a little bit hesitant. We got the news as expected, and you could see we did pull back up. And honestly, having a look right here, you could see that right here, we did actually get rejected, right? Technically, even though we had a nice green candle. But as of today, as long as we close essentially above that $17,238 level, then we have confirmed a daily candle above this. And I do think that we would probably be looking to have, at least a mildly bullish Q1 for Bitcoin and crypto. So that being said, though, there was an open letter from the Winklevoss twins, specifically Cameron, to the Digital Currency Group board, where basically in a nutshell, they said that Barry is incompetent. He owes our earn users 900 million, and they basically asked him that he needs to step down, right? They said, Barry, step down. You don't deserve to be in this place. Now, there were some emails that went out, some people on this platform a little bit concerned. Is Gemini going to end up going bankrupt? That's something that you're hearing people talk about. So could the crypto contagion continue? Well, I do want to talk about that today. But on the flip side, to get away from all the negativity, we also have Bloomberg, which is calling for and this is a quote, a shocking forecast for a severe global economic shutdown. So that's what they're saying. However, you're going to be kind of surprised as to how that note ended to investors. But why is crypto pumping? Is it just that it was overdue? Well, honestly, here's a few reasons from crypto news. Easing inflation drives investors back to crypto and riskier assets. Bitcoin miners break multi-month selling streak. And of course, extreme fear drives crypto price recovery, right? Buy when there is blood in the streets, even if it's your own blood. So that being said, guys, thank you for coming back to the channel. And also make sure that you get subscribed and make sure that you turn on the bell notifications. Yesterday's video, if I show you what was happening statistically on the chart, it basically was going like this and then just completely flatlined. And I was talking to a bunch of people in the crypto community, and they said the same thing happened to all their videos. I don't know if YouTube is doing one of those censor things. Sometimes they do this. They had been, sort of shadow banning a bunch of crypto accounts. Either way, just make sure that you get subscribed. And also, there is a backup channel in the description. If you're interested, scroll down. It's called Crypto Zombie Undead. In case anything ever happens, I don't think it will, but just so you know, yesterday there was obviously some kind of a crypto ban or some kind of censorship going on, because every single crypto influencer I talked to said that their video basically was doing well and then just flatlined. Really, really weird. And it happened to me too. So who knows? Maybe it's a problem with YouTube. Maybe it's nothing. But make sure you guys turn on that bell notification so you get these updates, because we absolutely smashed it. We killed this move. We nailed it. And as you can see right here, we are coming up towards the top of this flag again, right? Now, if we were to go directly up today, that level is sitting at around $17,330. Now, we did have that 17.5 target, but remember, one of the key levels that I'm looking at right here is kind of where we had this wick here, but look at all these levels right here, right? We had 1, we had 2, and then when we tried to pump from this crazy crash, we had 3, right? So we have 3 touches on this line, which still makes me think that our target is around here, up around 18,160. And, you know, from bottom to top right there, guys, that's a almost 8% move. So obviously, you know, I'm not suggesting using 10x leverage, but if you guys were using that, you should be very, very, very well in profits right now. And this is why you have to get subscribed and make sure that you watch the tutorial popping up above. It's also at the end of the video because, like I said, once we get this volatility, this is where you can start making that money again, trading crypto volatility. Be very safe, get subscribed. Like I said, $56,000 in bonuses below. But the moving averages is also an issue because we have the 21 exponential coming down. And it does actually look like if it doesn't start closing up soon, we're going to get a little bit of a death cross right here on this 321. Does it really matter? No, not really. But I just wanted to point it out. I think obviously just getting above the 21 is important. That's sitting at around $19,200. But let's take it a day at a time. And the ultimate that I'm looking for is this massive, massive, massive downtrend, which eventually at some point, even if we just went completely straight, we're going to run into that sometime around April, May of this year. So yeah, like I said, you know, by Q2 this year, we're going to have a very large move for Bitcoin. And it could be breaking potentially out of this downwards parallel channel, right? We also pointed out that, you know, you can also say that, you know, it is a bit of a, you know, falling wedge. I've shown you that before. But, you know, this target, if we go straight up, which we're not going to go straight up, let's be real, is around $23,800. So it is actually possible. It's actually possible to remain in a bear market and see Bitcoin pump all the way up to 23,000 before coming down. And we did go over this logarithmic regression. Somebody was asking me about this on the channel. It's logarithmic regression. It's a free indicator if you want to use it on TradingView. I do have bonuses for TradingView too if you guys want. You can get some free. If you guys want to just like use these charts and trade with me, you know, totally for free, you guys can check that out below. But, you know, since basically back here, we've never really fallen below the middle of the green band, except for when we just had the quick crash in COVID. But every time we tend to stay above it. And that's pretty much where we are right now. So that would say that if we were to have a similar crash like COVID, worst case scenario would take us down to around 11,500, but it would be very, very short lived and most likely would not last longer than a week to 2 weeks. So everybody waiting on that $10,000, $11,000 Bitcoin, even if we do get it, it probably will not last very long, right? And of course, again, we called the death cross. We called the death cross on the dollar, literally pumped basically the next day. So that was that. And, you know, the only thing that's a little concerning, again, is getting towards the top of this channel on the S&P. The S&P did pull down yesterday, kind of pulled Bitcoin down with it, but I would be careful because if the S&P does start to fall, does start to get rejected, Bitcoin may get dragged down with it. So let's talk about what's going on right now. Well, we have this open letter to the Board of Digital Currency Group. It's a 4-page letter, as you can see right here, from Cameron Winklevoss. And essentially, I'm not going to read all this, but it was broken down on Cointelegraph. So this is sort of the meat and potatoes of what he said. Winklevoss claimed that Silbert and Genesis Global Capital, a subsidiary of DCG, had defrauded more than 340,000 users who were a part of Gemini's Earn program. The letter followed the January 2nd appeal on Twitter to Silbert directly, in which he said that they owed the $900 million. He told them to pay him back by January 8th. He accused him of hiding behind lawyers, investment bankers in process, and of course he didn't yet. So according to him, Genesis lent more than $2.3 billion to Three Arrows Capital, and we all know what happened to them, a move which ultimately left the crypto firm with a loss of $1.2 billion once the hedge fund failed in June of last year. He claims Silbert and Genesis orchestrated a carefully crafted campaign of lies starting in July 2020 in an effort to show that Digital Currency Group had injected the funds into Genesis. There is no path forward as long as Barry Silbert remains CEO of Digital Currency Group. He has proven himself unfit to run DCG and unwilling and unable to find a resolution with creditors that is both fair and reasonable. As a result, Gemini, acting on behalf of the 340,000 Earn users, requests that the board remove Barry Silbert as CEO. And the fact that Barry Silbert has only really made one public response, and it was basically him getting defensive saying we didn't do that, and he's not really owning up to it, I kind of have to take the side of Cameron Winklevoss. And actually, you know who else takes the side of it? Now it's going to all make sense what that intro was. It's actually the dev.
I stand with the Gemini twins. Earn users are tired. They're scared. So what's going on, Barry? Every day you don't respond, I'm gonna have my friend Bobby wail on pictures of your face. Bobby.
Nobody fucks with the little guys.
Every day he'll punch harder. You don't want to get Bobby mad.
Don't fuck with the dev. Mess with Bitcoin and see what happens. It won't be nice. That I can fucking promise.
I have hundreds of these, Barry. This can go on as long as you want. It might seem like numbers on a spreadsheet to you, but these are real people, Barry.
We need transparency.
And we need it now.
Understood? Don't piss me off.
So what was a little bit concerning to people is the fact that they got this email from Gemini where they're saying, we are writing to let you know that Gemini, acting as an agent on your behalf, has terminated the master loan agreement with Genesis Capital, which officially terminates the EARN program. And then people were like, well, what happens with my money? Well, they said you do have a balance. It's in your pending balances, but you can't withdraw it. The return of your assets remains our highest priority, and we continue to operate with the utmost urgency. We invite you to follow our Earn Updates page, which we will update at a minimum on Tuesday and Friday of each week until the resolution is reached. So it does look like Gemini is trying to do the right thing. They're not coming across saying that they don't have their own funds or that they're, going insolvent or bankrupt. In fact, the way that I'm, sort of taking this in is that this doesn't affect anything on their general buying, selling, trading platform, right? They have the funds. And also, let's not forget, they have to get audited, right? They are in New York. They do have that BIT license, and we know how difficult it is to run an exchange or even to offer services to New York citizens. So that is something that I would point out. I don't think they're going to go bankrupt. I am interested in seeing what Barry Silbert does. But here's the thing. So we have over here, this is obviously from Bloomberg. They came out with a report and they said that the rising potential, that's it, by the way, I'm done talking about Gemini. If you guys are interested, that's all there is for that. So Bloomberg says the rising potential for a severe global economic shutdown may be a top crypto performance factor in 2023. Wait, what? A top crypto performance factor? They say our bias is that Bitcoin is most likely to come out ahead in most scenarios. Now, this seems quite unlikely based on the fact that Bitcoin is down 70%. Most people are saying it's very associated with risk assets. If the situation gets worse, it would only get worse for Bitcoin. But they're saying no. Pointing to the yield curve, which shows long-term interest rates are less than short-term interest rates being a possible indicator, the report says that economic growth will ebb and result in implications for all assets. Now, they do still say Bitcoin could go down to 12 or 10, and I think we all kind of agree that's a possibility. But they also noted that another scenario might play out differently from last year is that the Fed, they and central banks may be forced to start easing back on deflationary forces from declining asset prices. Now, this is where it comes down to calling the Fed's bluff, right? Powell has come out again this morning, remaining hawkish. FOMC minutes remaining hawkish, right? Saying that they don't care. They know it's going to be painful for businesses. They know it's going to be painful for unemployment. Their number one priority is inflation, right? That's what they're saying. But history proves that the Fed usually doesn't stick to what they say. So in this Fed pivot scenario, Bitcoin is poised to transition to a digital version of gold and perform like the metal and U.S. Treasury long bonds. A swift recovery in declining GDP and asset prices appears less likely, right? Now, coming over here, you're hearing all this doom and gloom. You're hearing Bitcoin's a Ponzi. You're hearing Bitcoin is, worthless. But you have former Barclays chief executive Bob Diamond saying that digital currencies have a prominent role to play in finance, specifically stable coins. So this is something that I think about. And, I got to be honest, when a lot of people rag on Ethereum, I mostly talk about Bitcoin on this channel. I'm like a firm Bitcoin believer. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. But to just completely rule out Ethereum, they always talk about putting stable coins on Bitcoin, but they tried that with Omni, right? Nobody really used it. So unless they build some of these secondary, second, third, fourth, fifth layers, which they might, They might do it on Bitcoin, but is there really a need for that? I think Bitcoin works good as it is. I don't think we need to necessarily build stable coins on Bitcoin. I think something that, Ethereum is really good for is sending and receiving stable coins. Actually, another one really good, believe it or not, is Tron. I know you're going to be shocked, but I actually use Tron a lot for sending and receiving, stable coins because it's really easy to use. It's extremely fast and it's like a penny. In fact, there's some exchanges that don't even charge you, literally, because the fee is so low that they just don't even charge it because it's like a fraction of a penny, right? So yeah, I mean, stable coins is something that he definitely sees, and he says, I can't think of anyone who doesn't believe that in the future, a digital version of the dollar for institutional and corporate use isn't going to happen. We all know it's going to happen. We hope it's not like 1984, the movie. Google it if you don't know what I'm talking about. But we did have Bill Miller still saying that he sticks with Bitcoin. He believes in Bitcoin. And he went on to say the FTX collapse that was a centralized enterprise, as was Celsius. And I think this is very important to understand that Bitcoin is dramatically different from that, right? And that was the most important thing to take away, is that Bitcoin is not FTX. It is not SBF. In fact, if you guys are following me over on TikTok, I obviously put some of these out, and I said the exact same thing at the Decentral conference. Well, speaking of educators, something I've been pushing recently, especially on my channel, and obviously the not your keys, not your coin thing, but most importantly, I think everyone out here should be an educator in the sense that, okay, not everyone has a YouTube channel, not everyone has, a million Twitter followers, but I think it's really important, when you're going to that holiday event with the family and you're explaining to people what's going on, what has happened in the crypto space, that there has to be a big difference between decentralization and centralization, and that all the mess and all the problems and this liquidity crisis and deleveraging and bad actors in the space have all been centralized actors, you know what I'm saying? And it's very important that we educate the masses to know the difference between the protocol, which is still running, still doing its thing, crypto, which is still doing its thing, decentralization is still doing its thing. Crypto is not SBF. Not gonna lie, I do have to work on my public speaking skills. Maybe I'll take some courses, who knows. But just to end on the end of the day, I think that was the point we were trying to make. And you can see right here, Morgan Stanley, one of the world's biggest investment banks with $6.5 trillion in assets under management, holds Bitcoin on behalf of their customers. The Morgan Stanley Europe Opportunity Fund revealed in a filing that it bought $3.6 billion worth of Grayscale Bitcoin that is being traded on Grayscale. And by the way, if you did look at that discount, it is moving back up, right? We were down at almost 50, and I believe the last time I checked, it was around 38 to 36. So that being said, guys, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. Make sure you turn on the bell notification, get subscribed. You can see right here. I mean, look at this, guys, right here. 27, 25, 13K views. Crazy. And I was talking to a lot of people and they were like, yeah, and I don't have the chart, but I mean, it was literally like, it was going up, and then just flat. I mean, literally like super, super weird. Like the algorithm was just like, okay, we're turning off all crypto videos. Not sure what that was all about. Make sure you get subscribed, turn on the bell notification. I love you guys. And if you want to learn to trade, there are lots of opportunities to make money right now, especially in the altcoins as well. Be careful with those though, because they fluctuate a lot bigger. I don't really see the need to trade altcoins if you're going to use leverage. You can just use Bitcoin. They all do the same thing, basically. When Bitcoin moves, the altcoin moves, etc. So that being said, if you do want to learn, take your finger, click that video right now. Thanks for subscribing. I love you guys. Make sure you join the Telegram, everything else. Until next time, stay crypto. Of course, peace out.